Hi guys, welcome back to Roughing with the Sappers. Today is our next game review featuring me after long last. And just so you guys know, we've been branching out into Instagram and TikTok, so we've been posting some more short form content on there. So feel free to follow us on there. Today we've got a really interesting girls game with people that did not like each other, and it's going to lead into some very interesting situations. To the game review.
Okay, 3 minutes into this game, we've got Black on the attack, and they're trying to bring the ball into White's penalty area. White gets position on this, and then really comes through, tries to shield the ball, throws her hip out a little bit to in the middle of the shield. Black attacker ends up going down. There's also, maybe the look at, is this a pass back from the defender here? But in all honesty, it looks to me like it goes up off of her left foot to her right shin and then to the keeper, which isn't a pass back and not, or at least not a deliberate pass back to the keeper with the foot. So for me, I think this is a good no call, particularly early in the game. If this same thing happened in the middle of the field, there might be an argument for a charge here, but I'm not going to grant a penalty kick in this situation at all, unless there's some extraneous circumstances in the game. So I'm comfortable with that being a no call. We'll call that the correct decision. 9 minutes into the game, we've got one here that's pretty straightforward. At first glance, it looks kind of light. White has the ball here, and Black looks like she's coming in to challenge for the ball and is a little bit late to it. But you can see she whacks this girl right on the ankle, and it's after the ball's away. So you even see the girl kind of get a little bit upset by that and try to give a little shove afterwards. It's the kind of thing where in a game where if it was clear they wanted to play through the contact, I might just let that go and file it away in my mind. But the fact that she also is clearly upset and tries to give a push afterwards, I want to control that for the game, and I don't want a retaliation foul later. So go ahead and blow the whistle on that one and grant a direct free kick. On to minute 17, we've got one on the far side of the field that we can't quite fully agree on here. So I will play it, and we'll see that White has the ball. She's trying to send the ball up to her teammate, and this Black player comes in and kind of, goes into her, trying to get between the ball. We're looking at this, and I feel like I could justify either making this a call or making it a no call. I made it a no call on the field, so I think there's definitely an argument here that this could be a charge. I guess, Katie, what do you see on this one?
What I see on it is that the Black player, instead of trying to go for the ball first, she tries to play the person rather than the ball to, get in front of them, which can work. But, if you're going them, straight on and then, turning your body so that they get, most impact, going back, she full on, goes in with her shoulder, and then make sure that she's thrown back before going for the ball. So I think that constitutes a foul more than it does a no call.
So I feel like this is one you could call, or you could choose not to call and be okay either way. So I think we'll take the half-point deduction here, but let us know in the comments. Do you agree? Do you think this should be a charge or for a kick, or you think it's okay to let go? Into the 23rd minute, we've got what I think is a pretty straightforward handball here. The ball is just coming up. These two players are trying to challenge for it. It ends up popping up, and it hits this girl's hand and pops right at her feet, where she gains an advantage from that. You could argue this is a natural position. I felt that the touch of the hand gave her an advantage, and so went ahead and called that as a handball. Up next, we've got what seems to be a really straightforward trip from behind. So right here, White's just trying to attack here. Black player kind of clumsily comes through the back of her legs. Really easy call to make, and I'm right there to call it and give them a direct free kick from right outside the penalty area. On to minute 39, on the far side of the field, we've got Black on the attack, and this White defender is going to come and really charge. It's hard to see if it's a charge or a push from this camera angle, but you can clearly see she goes down hard. I'm there, I blow the whistle loudly and run over to give direction. I think there's an argument to be made here that this could possibly be a yellow card. especially since she doesn't really play the ball at all. She plays the person and goes through her. I didn't do that, but we are almost 30 minutes into a game that so far has really had 5 decisions. So I think that probably factored into my temperature of the match. If this had been a different temperature match at this point, maybe I would have gone and given a card here. I do think I probably should have come over and given a verbal warning here. Katie, what do you think?
I think that just based off 5 decisions during the match and a higher level match, higher temperature match, you should definitely be cracking down on stuff like this a little bit more. But with situations that are more like, we're 30 minutes into the game, 5 decisions so far, I would say, you should give a verbal warning, but a yellow card this early could just escalate tensions more than actually helps.
So we're going to call it the right decision. Let us know in the comments if you think this should be a yellow card for sure. We're going to say it was okay not to, but also just take it as a learning. Yeah. Should at least give the verbal warning.
So for our next decision, we've got an offside call. First one in the match, I now get to speak. My silence has been evaporated. So for this decision, it's going to be an offside on black. So let's see the play. So here's the moment of decision. The second to last defender is this white defender right here. And the person that's going to get the ball is on the very far side. Though from this camera angle, it is harder to see angles. But from what it looks like, it does look like she's probably, a few steps offside, maybe at the top of the circle. And so when she gets the ball and she starts running, our wonderful AR, which is not me, unfortunately, called offside, which is probably the right decision. And so that is another correct one. Yay!
Now we're on to minute 35, and we've got white on the attack, and then this black player is going to come through, and really, she actually does get the ball, but she also clears this player's legs out from behind. So this is one of those where, parents, spectators, players often say, well, they got the ball. But in my mind, this is a clear textbook situation where just getting the ball doesn't mean that it's not a foul, because you see that she gets the ball, yes, and then she clears that player's legs out because she initiates that contact. So for me, this is a foul every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And you'll see when I come in, she's trying to argue, I got the ball. And you see,
know what you got? You got the ball, but you know what else you got? You got her legs. You got her legs. Oh, but I got the ball. You also got her knees. That's what you got.
So every day of the week, twice on Sunday, that's a foul, players. This ended up being an important one because they ended up scoring a goal off of this free kick and got it back within a 1-goal game. So you can also see in the last couple of fouls, while we haven't had that many fouls in this game so far, they are getting to be harder fouls. So that's something that was on my radar. Almost immediately after the kickoff following the goal, we've got almost the same foul but going the other way here because this white player comes in and gets the ball but also initiates illegal contact and, commits a trip here. So, pretty straightforward call here in my book, and give their direct free kick for black in this situation. Okay, our last call before halftime. We're in the 38th minute. Ball's coming up. Black's on the attack here. These two players are challenging for it, and the white player here really has her arms out and is really holding that black player back from being able to make a fair challenge on it. So you can almost see, if I pause it here, like her elbow is almost up into her neck and her arm is out, which is why you kind of see the black player shove the arm away after it's gone. So for me, that was a pretty straightforward call. The sideline on this side really thought that she was just making a fair play on the ball. But you see me explaining there, hey, I saw your arm out, I saw your arm out. If I flash forward a little bit, I actually get some grief from the sideline. Unfortunately, I'm not wearing the microphone here or it's not recording. So when this comes up for the kick, you'll see me turn and talk to the coach here because the coach is saying, how is that a foul? How's that a foul? And I'm just like, look, she has her arms out. She's, impeding with contact. I don't think I said impeding with contact, but she's preventing her from making a fair play. And so I offer here, I say, look, I'll come talk to you at halftime because it's almost halftime. So The last decision was the final decision of the first half. Now, because I had that interaction with the coach, you actually see here as I'm walking off, I end up walking over to actually have a discussion. I say, Coach, I'm happy to talk with you. And I just had actually a really nice conversation. Really wish I had the audio, but we have a good conversation here where I just explained to him what I thought I saw. He explains that he didn't think it was a foul. He thought she was making a fair play on it. And I'm just like, look, I saw her arm out. If I saw it wrong, I saw it wrong, but I'm calling it, based on the angle that I had and the view that I had. So I do explain that here, and we talk about it for a little bit. He was totally chill. He was good with it. So, but it was an interesting conversation. Now, I also, at halftime in this match, while there had only been 10 decisions through the first half, some of those fouls had been rough, on the rougher side, right? I hadn't given any cards yet. But I remember I told my assistant referees at halftime here that I could feel the tension on the field, like there was something just bubbling under the surface. And I remember I told them, I bet we have some yellow cards in the second half, because you can just, a little bit feel it on the field, even though I've been trying to, make sure I called all of those things. But, we'll see that play out as we get into the second half. It's 6 minutes into the second half before we've got our first decision, and it's on the far side of the field here. Can't really even see it that well because I'm standing right in the line of sight of the camera here, but you can see this black player kind of goes down trying to get this ball, sticks her leg out, and the white player is tripped in the process. Pretty straightforward and an easy call there on that one. About a minute later, we've got one of the more interesting calls of this game. So white is on the attack here, and a couple of black players are trying to challenge for it here. We see that the white player and black player try to touch it. White gets to it just a split second beforehand. Black clearly fouls her. I do call that foul immediately, run in, signal for the direction. But the coach on the sideline was very upset. She was yelling about how I need to protect players. We'll listen to the audio in just a second, but it's interesting because she's like, I'm over here in tears. How is that not a card? Now we're over here talking about this and reviewing it, and I think there's an argument a call or a card would be appropriate here. We are 7 minutes into the second half, and it's only the second foul. I thought, my thinking at the time was that she just barely missed the touch, and I didn't think this was particularly reckless. But I think there's an argument to be made. Katie, what do you see?
What I see mainly with this is, one, she never touches the ball at all. And then two, it feels like the way that her leg goes in, it's already in between both of her legs. It's not even at the top of her foot. It's between both of her legs, which, maybe she was a little bit away, but at the same time, players at this level know time that it takes to get from one place to another, touches to make, because they've been doing this for a while. And just the speed that she went in, and the fact that when she actually gets to that point on the field, she's already in between the white player's legs. I feel like that is more reckless for the safety, or at least based on other fouls and so far in the game. They've been lower, but they've been harder fouls. I think that this is the time that we should crack down on harder fouls. So I think that it deserves a card.
So let us know in the comments if you think this should be a card. I'm a little bit in the camp that I think you could card this, but I also think it's okay not to. And so we're going to take a half-point deduction for not giving a card here, since Katie thinks it should be, and I'm a little wishy-washy on it. But definitely the right call for the decision. And then let's listen to what the coach also says, because she ends up yelling very loud and publicly. I end up going over and talking to her for a while and giving her a yellow card for basically dissent. So yeah, this camera is picking up that audio from all the way across the field. So I felt like that was just too loud and provocative, basically saying, I'm going to let them hurt their players. I found out later that that was her daughter, and she had just come back from having an ACL surgery and injury. So she's obviously hypersensitive on that. I do give her the card there. We have a discussion for a little bit. It's one of those she clearly wanted to vent. I tried a technique there where I actually said, look, coach, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. You can say whatever you want to me as long as it's at least respectful, and then I'll listen to it and we'll go back to playing. But I tell that to her. She says what she wanted to say. I asked her, is that everything? Is there anything else you want me to watch for? And she says, no, thank you. And she walks away. It was interesting because after the match, even though this team ends up losing the game, the best compliment you can get from spectators is the losing team giving you a compliment as a referee. And there was a spectator for the white team who came by us after the match and said, we just wanted to tell you guys you did a great job. And by the way, the giving her 10 seconds to vent and then say what she wanted to say, listening and going on. He says, like, that's like next level. Like, that was really brilliant. So anyway, I don't know if it will work every time, but it worked this time. And definitely wish I had had the microphone for this one because that would have been a more interesting interaction. Not more than a minute after the card to the coach, after that harder foul, we've got our first yellow card to a player here, where Black's trying to bring the ball up. These two players both go down, but what I saw here is this, I'm going to play it in slow motion. This black player got her elbow, and her arm locked on this white player and holds her back from trying to play that ball, which I honestly felt was very unsporting. And then right here, as they're trying to get up, I know it doesn't look like much, but I saw her foot swing over almost like an attempt to kick. So I come in very quickly. I've already got the card out. I very quickly administer a yellow card there because, like, now we're over the line. So I've already told, at halftime I told my crew I could feel the tension bubbling. Well, now suddenly we're here. But I think that is the correct call and very much the correct card in that instance. On to minute 51, we've got another one of these challenges that I often say on the channel are some of the hardest decisions to make in my book when you've got an attacker coming in and a goalkeeper coming for the ball, and it's microseconds of is it a foul one way or the other. In this case, this keeper's coming in trying to jump on this ball just as the white attacker's getting there. The keeper throws her body over the ball. In the process, she does get this player's leg. I think there's an argument to be made here that you could call a penalty kick there. I made it a no call on the pitch. I'd be interested in your comments. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Should this have been a penalty kick? I made it a no call. Didn't really get any dissent on this one. The player was down for a little bit, but she got up and went back to playing. I guess, Katie, what do you think?
My main things for this type of situation is, did she have to go through the player's back or side to get it? And this is sort of like a resemblance to a slide tackle, where even though that you take down the player, you got the ball and you didn't have to go behind their back to do it, or you didn't have to go through their entire body to get that ball. It's sort of like a slide tackle that even though that the other player goes down, you still got the ball and you didn't have to go through the player to do it.
So let us know in the comments what you think. But yeah, that's how we scored it on the field. On to minute 53. We've got Black on their attacking third, and this white player just comes in, not even trying to play the ball, and just really charges through this girl. So at first I was going to just make that a straight call, and then I thought about it for a second and thought, you know what, I don't want that to continue. So I'm a little bit delayed here. A lot of times I try to pull the yellow card out quickly. I thought about that one for a second. I saw how injured she was as well, and I just wanted to try to put the brakes on this game because now, a few things have happened. Yeah, we've started to give some cards. Here's another one. And, it's funny. After this one, some of the girls were saying, well, it's never a really game until so-and-so gets her first card. So, so apparently she does that sometimes. But, yeah, I think it's the right call here. And I think, particularly given the temperature in this match, that this is a, let me get back to it, that's a reckless foul with no regard for the safety of that player. Okay, into minute 54, another one of these attacker coming in, goalie coming out type decisions. So right here, I made this a no call on the field. You see the black player fall down here. But what I saw on the pitch is that the ball is coming in, both the attacker and the goalie are expecting the ball to be in one position. And what happens at the very last second, I'll pause it right here. So I think that the goalie and this attacker thought the ball was going to be between them. And instead, this white defender actually picked her pocket and kicked it up. So the ball wasn't where either one of those players were expecting it to be. And so yes, the black player does then trip over the goalkeeper, but I didn't feel like it was the goalie initiating a trip. And in that moment, is it the goalie tripping the attacker, or is it the attacker kicking into the goalie as she's running? I'm not going to grant a penalty kick there, especially when she just got her pocket picked and the ball was going a different direction. So I make that a no call on the pitch and make sure that they're both, physically okay because they had that kind of collision. But let me know in the comments if you think I should have called that otherwise. But I think that's a good no call in that scenario. Following that collision between the attacker and the goalkeeper, I think the attacker was injured, so I actually stopped play so that we could deal with the injuries. So we restart with a drop ball to the goalkeeper in this instance. So I'm standing here directly in front of the keeper. You can't see her, she's behind me. But there is this white attacker who is standing what I think is about 5 yards away, so the correct distance. But I want to play this, and you'll notice that as soon as I put that ball back in play, she immediately runs to attack it. Now, I honestly felt like that wasn't the best sportsmanship in the world. I didn't think it was quite worthy of a card. And it's perfectly actually legal for her to do that. But I also didn't think it was, in the spirit of the game. So you'll notice that when I put this in play, rather than just dropping it on the ground, I actively bounced it like a basketball so it would come up to this keeper's hands as quickly as possible. And I told her I was going to do that. And then I turn and I tell that player, like, look, hey, there's no need for you to be doing that, because it's just, those are the types of things that just escalate a match. But I did actively try to manage that situation because I saw that was going to happen. I felt like it was appropriate that the goal, you're dropping it to the goalkeeper. So maybe I should have talked to her before, since I knew she was going to run in. Maybe I should have talked to her, but that's how I chose to manage that. But it's an interesting nuance of of something that happened in this match. Into minute 56, we've got what I think is the final yellow card of this match. But white is on an attack. We see this player trip her from behind while she's got this breakaway. To me, this is very clearly stopping a promising attack or spa. And so, I'm looking here. I'm seeing she had that breakaway. There are some defenders, so it's not dog-so. But I blow the whistle, come in, give her the yellow card immediately. Talk to her a little bit about that. I don't know why she's trying to argue, there was something else that happened.
I think soccer players just love to argue, even though I think that they know that they're wrong. They just want to argue.
Now, one of them was also saying that there were spectators on that side who had been, I think it's here, she says that somebody on that side had been saying something rude to them every time they run down that sideline. So I actually kind of hold up the restart, and I come over and I call my assistant referee in. So it's Bailey. He was helping me out, did a really fantastic job on that side. So I talked to him and just say, hey, she says she's hearing spectators say rude things to him when they come up. I said, I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything? He says, no. And so I just said, well, okay, then I'm not going to do with that. But I also asked him, when you walk back by there, would you just mention to the coach to have, them not making any comments to the players? So anyway, I'm just trying to deal with that. I have no idea if, what may have actually been said there, if anything, but trying to at least acknowledge that they were heard and say that we'll deal with something if we do hear anything. So it's sometimes interesting in games that you see the temperature go up and up and up and, kind of escalate from beginning to end of a match. This game, with the yellow cards that we've shown up to this point, they almost all happened in a 5-minute period. It was just like boom, 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 boom. We had some quick yellow cards, and then everything just chilled out in the game. It became a much more chill game. All of that tension you could feel bubbling under the surface, it's almost like it evaporated. So we're into minute 70 before we have our next decision in this match, and it's even a pretty light one here. So Black's on an attack. There's a little fairly light push in the back. There's an argument to maybe just let that go, but it is a push in my mind. So I go ahead and I call that. Felt that she lost possession there because of it, and give them the direct free kick from that point. It's kind of 9 minutes later when we get our next decision, and here it's right at the top of the penalty area. Black's trying to attack, but this Black player, in trying to get the ball, White kicks it off to the side there, and Black just kind of steps on her foot. And so I just call that right away. Give a direct free kick for the defending team right outside of their penalty area.
Our final decision of this match is going to be an offside call. And so right here, we see the play start. And here's the moment of decision. Who actually is going to get the ball is going to be on the other side of the field, but we're just going to analyze it. We see the Black player, and she's coming from back behind the field. And even though that we don't see her clearly, we can still see that she's in an offside position right now, which means that she was probably in an even bigger offside area than she was before. When she gets the ball right here, our wonderful AR calls his flag for coming from an offside position to an onside position, which is the correct call in this situation. And so that means that our final call of the game was the correct call.
And with that, the game was over.
So with that, the game ends. And with this, we had 25 decisions and 1 deduction, which gives us a final Sapper score of 96%, which I think means this is our first game with a great score for it, above 95%.
Let's go up high. One of the biggest compliments that you can get as a referee is when the losing team compliments you after the match. And these spectators, as they were coming off the field, they were nothing but complimenting. They were like, "Hey, we really appreciate you having you out there. It's really great to have a crew that you feel like you can trust the decisions that you guys are making." So, enjoyed this game. It gave us a lot. You could feel the tension on the field. It was very interesting the way that gave out those rapid yellow cards there halfway through the second half, and then just suddenly all that tension evaporated and the game just got a lot more chill, and it all seemed to go out of the room. So wish I had the audio here, but we do what we can. But thanks for joining us on this episode. I'm Scott.
I'm Katie, and we'll see you out on the pitch.
Booger time, let's go.
Bloopers.
Are you doing the...
No, you need to do this. Like shh, and then jaw.
Can I do this? And then skippity toilet Ohio Riz?
I'm done. I got the ball. I just went through her bag.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I got the ball. Yeah, you got her legs with that too. That's what you got. Oh, did you get the ball there?
Also got the ball.
You know what else you got? You got her ankles. And not in the oh, I broke her ankles. No. You did break her ankles because of the contact. That's what you got. Oh, I didn't do anything. I just did this and prevented them from going forward. I didn't foul them. What do you mean?
It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
It was the voices. The voices.
I thought I saw
But low-key, the girl after the power move, right there, look at what the White player does. Like she literally, looks down on her yeah, bitch.
I'm administering this. I'm looking, my back's to her. When she does that.
It's not. Look. It's within your peripheral.
How, there's no way you can tell me I see that.
You see when she came in, after, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, you've got better eyesight than I do then.
I know.